Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tom Plays Civilization 6 for absolute beginners. We're starting a new game. Time to play Civilization Roulette again. Nice long pause. Aha! Right. So we've got Empire with Gilgamesh, the earliest, well, probably the earliest known king of humanity. Interesting. Right, so this screen that you see first tells you about the leader. It's very important because your choice of victory condition and playstyle will depend basically on the advantages this gives you. So Adventures of Enkidu. So this is a military advantage. Basically, if we have allies, we can join in their wars, which is interesting. Early game, you capture a barbarian outpost and you get a tribal village. So we can gain advantages in the early game by defeating barbarians. So we should definitely be quite military at the start. We also get the war cart, which is a very early military unit, which will probably give us some advantages right at the start. And the ziggurat, which is our own improvement. I'm not sure if that doesn't give us science. So although we'll start off military, that will sort of disappear as the barbarians do. So in effect, to start with, we want to be pumping out war carts and capturing barbarian outposts wherever we can. Sounds good? Okay. So here's our starting screen. Got a nice little isometric view. You can move around by left clicking on the land somewhere. You see that most of the world is unknown at this stage, although we seem to be in the extreme south, given that I don't seem to be able to move very... Sorry, no. Something I hadn't actually noticed before. We're actually limited in how far we can move in terms of the known land. So yeah, it's quite nice. All the unknown land is in the style of an old-fashioned map. We'll have sea monsters and stuff on there. But we begin with a settler unit, which can be used to found a city, which we really should do as soon as we possibly can, and a basic warrior unit, which would normally be military, but to start with we'll be using to explore as well. So usually, unless there's a very good reason to move, you want to found your city immediately. Now in this case, I think we're in a very good position. We by a river. In fact, they've got a little icon on it saying it's a good place to found a city. So these little city icons are, I mean, we have a bunch of special little resources all around, so this is actually a very good place to start. So let's found a city here. Replaces whatever's on there, but I'm not particularly concerned about marches, I have to say. Okay, so we need to start moving our warrior around as well. So to move the warrior around, we right click. Generally speaking, it sort of shows how far we can move. So we can actually move further in this direction for some reason. That's how far we can move in one turn. Everything here is turn based, so there's no need to rush. Okay, so we've got some other options. We tend to get alerts down here. So an alert there saying that we've discovered a new continent, which we're calling Mu. And we've got an option here to choose research. So this is how our science is going to go. Now, when choosing research, you need to pay special attention to this number here. This is how many turns it will take you to learn it. In some cases, it's possible to get a head start. Basically both of these 20s, sailing and astrology. There's a little bit here that will be filled in if we fulfill certain conditions, and if we hover over it, I think it will tell us what that condition is. Oh, it's down there. So in grey here it says if we find a natural wonder we'll get a boost towards astrology, and if we found a city on the coast we'll get a boost to sailing. So if we don't have those boosts, I usually don't discover those, don't research those until we do, because the faster we can learn science, the better. The other three, the 10s, there are no boosts. There's no way to boost them. They're the most basic starting ones. So right at the beginning, what I would go with is look at the resources within range of your city. So we've got stone, we've got deer, and we've got dyes. So we should be going for either mining, animal husbandry, or irrigation. We've got mining and animal husbandry. We don't have pottery as an option. So I think I'm going to go with mining. There we go. So the alert's changed. This is very important. Choose production. It's what we want to start building in our city. If you remember, buildings are very important. We've got a lot of information about the city, incidentally. This is the population. We won't be able to make any additional settlers to found more cities until this is at least 2. It says it belongs to us, name of the city, full loyalty. This is our original capital, so it's what people need to capture to get a domination victory. This is the defense, I believe, and this is what's currently being made. So we're going to click on this, and we've got to choose. So we have a few options. Bear in mind that even though we have a military advantage at the start, I think that's going to disappear. So we don't really need to decide yet on what kind of victory to go for. The monument is the only building we can do. That will provide culture, quite important. The scout will enable us to... Can't build a settler, as I said. Scout will enable us to explore the world. Although part of me wonders if, as Uruk, we should actually just build war carts and explore the world that way. The only real difference with a scout is that they gain experience just from exploring. But we are so keen to take barbarian settlements, I'm wondering if we should go straight military. The builder is also important because we are getting nothing out of these 3 resources until we have created a builder. So there's a little recommendation item. They recommend that we build a monument or a scout. I'm actually thinking I'm going to go away from that. The slinger is a ranged unit which I will often use for defense, and it does give us a boost towards another technology. Warrior is a basic melee unit. Let's see, melee strength 20, movement 2. War cart, melee strength 30, movement 3. I think we want war carts all around, so I'm actually going to go straight war cart. I'm going to ignore the scout because we've got this big advantage which you don't, I believe, get with any other civilization. So we're going to move around, but every time you finish moving you still have to click next turn, which is when your opponents get their moves. So yeah, this advantage we've got where if we conquer barbarian settlements... Yeah, that's an interesting. Is this a city-state or is this another person? Some kind of border like ours, you see. Yeah, we actually take the settlement, so we will get new cities by conquering barbarians. So, I mean, that is potentially a huge advantage because you really want as many cities as possible. So we need to get out there and find barbarians and conquer them. Okay, but in the meantime, we found a city-state. So city-states are interesting. I actually really like them. They... I suppose they're kind of similar to vassals in the EU4. They're basically a civilization that never grows beyond a single city. So they're not competition. You can conquer them, but you can also become suzerain of them, which means critically from my point of view that they will join in any wars that you fight. So if someone declares war on you, they will also be fighting the city-state. And the city-states can get surprisingly powerful because they don't explore, they don't build settlers. Their one city tends to be quite tough. You can tell from the colour that Yerevan is primarily a faith city. But yeah, it would definitely be worth us becoming suzerain of Yerevan because they're quite close to us. So to help us with this, they've made a request of us. which I think, yes, if we hover over this little exclamation mark here, it tells us what that is. If we get a boost to the wheel, we will gain an envoy. We'll start building towards envoys. We're gaining 1 influence point per turn. Once we reach 100, we'll gain an envoy, which we can send to Yerevan. You also get other benefits for having envoys in city-states. But generally, the main thing is that it's useful and we should do it. I'm not sure if we've got a free one, actually, simply because we found them first. We do, so we've got 1 envoy. We're already gaining +2 faith in the capital, which is brilliant. Okay, so that's the city-state menu up there. Right, so next, need to keep exploring with a warrior. Found some rather rough terrain. Ah, brilliant. So a barbarian has actually discovered us. This is a scout unit, a barbarian scout unit. They've spotted our city, so they're going to attack us soon. I'm not that worried because we're about to produce a war cart. So normally I'd be hurrying back to the city to protect it at this stage. But as it is, I'm just thinking, great, we've found some barbarians. There's a little alert there to tell us that they're approaching. I know, this is interesting. Okay, we just got a accomplishment for reaching a golden age. So yeah, we get an era score. I actually thought this was only something you got with one of the DLCs. So I don't know if that's changing a patch or if I've actually accidentally left a DLC turned on. But hey, let's roll with it. So yeah, we've got an era score for each era. And not actually sure which age we're currently in. But yeah, you basically want to avoid a dark age. And if you can get a golden age, then you're doing really well. So we've made history apparently by creating the war cart. Who but Sumeria could create the war cart? Well, to be fair, that is true because it is our unique unit. So it's basically got a couple of donkeys or mules or something pulling a cart. It's a bit like a chariot, only without horses. And it's more like a cart. But hey, given no one's yet invented horseback riding, it's not too bad. So we have a war cart now. And slightly unusually, I think I'm going to tell them to just build another war cart because we really want to take advantage of this ability to settle barbarian cities. So we're now... Okay, that sound... That's a very important sound. It basically means we've discovered a tribal village. This is a friendly tribe. As soon as you find these, you should move a unit onto them. As soon as you can, because they're free for the taker for anyone. You always get an advantage for moving into them. So yeah, we need to move for that straight away. Fortunately, the war cart's quite fast. Okay, mining. We have discovered mining, which is good. So we still haven't fulfilled any of the requirements. So I'm thinking our next move should be animal husbandry because of the deer, which will be 8, because there's a bunch of boosts we can get. We will get some of these boosts without even trying. I'm also, oh, what's the boost for a wheel? Minor resource, right, so we actually do need a builder then. Sooner rather than later, because if we get this boost to the wheel by mining something, will a quarry count though? Bit of a question there as to whether stone will actually count in this instance. So I'm not necessarily going to worry too much about the builder. But as well as giving us a boost towards discovering the wheel, we will also gain an extra envoy at Yerevan. So it has a double advantage, but for now we're going to research animal husbandry. We're going to take this tribal village. That's given us 40 gold. I don't know if you saw that rising up there. And we discovered another city-state, also faith. The faith-based ones are white. Train an archer. Okay, so we need to discover archery first. So we basically got a free envoy for each of these because we were the first to discover them, which is great. We are gaining a lot of faith, which might mean we could move towards a religious victory. We could certainly move towards discovering a religion. But first we need to find these barbarians, so I'm assuming this scout is going to be heading back to their city. I could be wrong, but the city must presumably be somewhere in this direction. I glossed over that a little, but we just attacked the barbarian, basically by moving into them. One of the things... New barbarian outpost, brilliant. One of the things Civilization does that's reasonably kind of it is it tends to tell you in advance, let me just left click on this unit, whether you're going to win or not. I think there is some random element to it, could be wrong, but yeah, generally we're looking for things like major victory. So let's get our major victory. We'll also find that our units will become more experienced the more they conquer. However, they also become damaged. This is the health meter here, so we may want to rest them before we go straight into another fight. But this is the barbarian outpost. This is what we need to capture. I'm hoping it will give us a tribal village. I'm actually wondering if it actually gives us a city, or if it's actually not as good as I thought and it's just like the tribal village that we discover. It'll still give us a good advantage, but I possibly shouldn't go overboard. So that outpost we discovered... it's here. Right, brilliant. In that case, let's circle round, because we want to attack that as well. Okay, so I think we've got enough faith to choose a pantheon. This is not a religion, but it's a precursor to a religion. So this often depends a lot on your terrain, where you start. There are a bunch of options, and they all give you some kind of advantage, and this is very basic. You can actually avoid founding a religion full stop if you don't care about it. It's risky because it means you won't have any easy way to stop someone else gaining a religious victory. So it's often a good idea to found a religion, even if you're not planning on going for a religious victory, just so you can defend yourself against one. But you will always have a pantheon no matter what. So we've got one here that's good for tundra, one that's good for desert, good for rainforest. We do have a bit of rainforest, I think, but not huge amounts. River goddess. So we do have river. This one doesn't depend on terrain, gives us a plus towards wonders. Wonders are quite important, so they're quite good. Divine spark gives us a better chance of getting great people, which again is good. Read some marshes. We do have a few marshes. Floodplains, go to the sea. We're nowhere near the sea, so that's not a good one. Culture from pastures, got us from a hunt, food from camps, so we probably will have a camp where the deer are. We do have quite a few stone resources around. Stone circles, plus 2 faith from quarries, so that might be worth considering. Religious idols. You see, this is why I'm wondering about the mining thing, because these are mines over luxury and bonus resources. I don't think they count for quarries. I don't think a quarry would count for this, so I wonder if it'll count for the wheel bonus. Festivals. I don't think we have a lot of these things. Oral tradition. There's one for dyes. We do have one lot of dyes. Because a forge, you see, that might be worth it simply because it allows us to make military units faster. Plus 50 faith for each barbarian outpost cleared. That's another one that fits in well with our need for early barbarian outpost stuff. Healing god of war. So that only really works if we're going military and if we're expecting other people to attack us. Fertility rights. Fertility rights I think is a good one. It makes your cities grow faster. Religious settlements, again, border expansion. This is the border, and you may not have noticed, but it has actually expanded by 1 hexagon. And that just happens naturally, so religious settlements makes this happen faster. Harvesting a resource, I don't go for harvesting resources, it kind of gets rid of them instead of exploiting them. So not a huge fan. City patron, production towards districts in cities without speciality district. This is good if you're building a lot of cities. And earth goddess, charming or better appeal. That works well if you're going for a culture victory, I think. However, I'm actually wondering about the stone circles simply because of the 3 quarries we have nearby. Even though barbarian outpost cleared is also tempting. I'm just thinking that will permanently give us faith, whereas this... Where are we? Initiation rats will only work while there are barbarians. Let's go with this one, +2 faith from quarries. Stone circles. We are big into stone circles. Cool. And forming a pantheon has given us an inspiration towards mysticism. So this is one of the boosts. I'm not sure if... I think this might be culture, which we haven't really looked at because we're still in the process of the first one. But it's similar to the science boosts. And I think we just discovered someone. Ah, interesting. Okay, so this is Saladin of the Arabians. He is very much into faith. So we are going to have conflict with him if we found our own religion. He is definitely going to be going for a faith victory. So I'm definitely going to try and make peace to start with. And I don't mind exchanging information on our capitals either. And it looks like the barbarians are attacking him, which is good from our point of view. So apparently Cairo is his capital. It's interesting. And having met another civilization gives us a boost towards writing, which is good. See, we don't even have to try for most of these boosts. Okay, so the war card, we've got an option to fortify until healed, which I'm going to go for, because you often have a big advantage in combat if you're at full health. So I see no particular reason to immediately attack, even though they are quite badly damaged, so it's tempting. And of course it did mean we were fortified when they attacked us. Okay, this is worrying. Ah, we have discovered Code of Laws, so we are now on to civics. So we get to form our first proper government. We start off as a chieftain, and there are 4 types of policies one can enact. At the moment we can see all our options. There are only 4 options, and we can have 1 military, 1 economic. So I'm not actually doing any recon units. Slightly unusual, normally one would have them, but we definitely could do with this because we need to fight a lot of barbarians. So this is excellent, we got this at the best possible time, seeing as we're about to fight a bunch of barbarians and I'm getting a bit worried about my poor war cart. And we have 2 options, God King, which gives us faith and gold only in the capital, and urban planning, which gives us +1 production in all cities. You do get to change these periodically. Every time you discover a civic you can easily change them at no cost. I think you can change them at a cost at other times, but mostly you discover civics often enough. So when you only have 1 city, you should definitely go for God King. Urban planning will come into its own if we have a lot of cities, but really we could do with a boost to faith anyway, because with Saladin next door we should definitely form our own religion, I think. Unless we just risk it and let him overrun us, I don't know. Would be an option. I'm going to go for fortify until healed again. I don't know if we're at a disadvantage defending rather than attacking, but at least we're fortified. Okay, so we've got to pick a new civic, so same deal, you can have a boost. Improve 3 tiles, it basically means you have to make a builder and improve these 3. We could easily do that. I'll probably do it after the war card. And foreign trade, discover a 2nd continent. I don't know how close we are to doing that. So I'm going to go for foreign trade because I think we're less likely to get that boost. Whereas I think we can do the builder boost in good time. Whereas it's possible we'll discover another continent any second. I think we've still got time to get the boost until we actually finish discovering it, but we'll see. I think the warcart's actually holding its own quite well. Right, you see you can actually choose to move an army by right clicking somewhere that's beyond where they can move in one turn, and they just won't bother you for a few turns while they move to that point. So apparently it'll be a major victory if we attack them now, so I'm going to go for it. Because, oh, this is brilliant, because we fought some barbarians, we've got a boost towards bronze working, which is great. I'm actually sort of thinking, because these are so very damaged, unfortunately it turns out they've got some slingers as well, which we could have done without. Hopefully our new warcart will be finished soon. Oh, this is good, they're also fighting Cairo. Only scouts, but at least they're fighting them. Excellent. We have our second warcart. So let's send them up to help. I think I'm going to pull this warcart out of there. Well, we'll see. I'm just worried about these slingers. Oh, actually, there's no one there, is there? Yes, so we haven't got a new city, but we got 50 gold, which you normally get for taking a barbarian settlement, and we also gained... We got a boost towards military tradition, which is a civic, and I think we also gained 1 population in our capital for free. So I'm now actually going to retreat again, because I've taken the outpost, which is what I wanted, and I don't really want to fight that slinger. I think I might leave Saladin to deal with them. But given that we're not getting free cities, I think... Actually, we also want to turn around and head down to this one. I think we're going to need to start building settlers very soon. So in fact, yeah, let's do the settler first, especially because we've got the boost to population. Animal husbandry completed. I'd like to have a city up here so that Saladin's not directly next to our capital. But we're also going to have to start defending ourselves in terms of religion. Okay, so our next move. Right, so pottery is still an option, but we also have a boost to bronze working, which is probably more effective. So let's go for bronze working. Going to move the warcart back within the borders of our city for safety, and this warcart wants to head towards that barbarian settlement, as does the warrior. But yeah, we need to heal this one up. Oh, apparently we've gained a promotion as well. You get those as you fight. Saladin has sent us some gifts, so we're going to welcome him. I'm going to be friendly. In fact, we should reciprocate if we can. So we can get onto a diplomacy screen by clicking on his face up here. And what we should do is send a delegation. It costs us 25 gold and it will improve our relationship with him. Yeah, this is interesting. We're going to have a job getting on well with him if we found a religion. What we could do is accept his religion, and then we could get on quite well with him. But the problem with that is, if he then goes for religious victory, we will have no way to stop him. Right, promoting a unit actually does heal them a little. So let's do a promotion now. Got 2 options: combat strength versus fortified defender, combat strength when defending against ranged attacks. Given we're probably going to be attacking outposts, might go with fortified defender. So that's gained us some health. We still need to do some healing. I might just have you wait a turn so we can get the warrior a little closer. So what worries me about this game is, because I was hoping for more... Oh, we don't really want to attack across a river, do we? Let's go next to them. Does put us at risk. Okay, fortify until healed. I'm bothered that I have held on a bit before getting the settlers. Still, it does allow us to take advantage of our attacking barbarians thing, so may not have been a bad move overall. Let's see. Stalemate. Well, no choice. At least with a stalemate, we'll both get damaged. And hopefully with a warrior coming up. Unfortunately, their spearmen are quite advanced. Even considering this is our unique unit. Let's fortify until healed. They may attack us. Thinking about it, we'd probably counter a cavalry unit, which spearmen are particularly good against. Right, I don't think we're going to be able to get down there in time to help, so I'd like to start exploring to the east, which we haven't yet done. Exploration is quite important, so we're effectively using our war carts in place of scouts right now. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to attack your scout. Still gives us valuable military experience. But I should also get whatever advantage we get for this. So we've got plus 20 faith along with the 50 gold we normally get. So that's good. Oh, we can also attack. Brilliant. Let's do it. I do think you get more experience towards, you know, gaining a promotion and extra abilities if you actually kill the other unit. I think that's a village again. It is a village. Brilliant. Who would ever have thought one was so close? So it looks like they've managed that one, and for some reason it looks like the scout has attacked us. Right, there's a scout coming to Uruk. They're no threat themselves, but they will go and get their barbarian buddies. So we should move to eliminate them. We should immediately take this village. If we don't, someone else will. And we've gained a boost towards foreign trade. This is basically because they've given us a secret. Oh, we can also attack. We've discovered another outpost. So we need to get all our units over here. So yeah, basically we're going to want these chariots moving through the world, attacking outposts. Might take the warriors home to defend Uruk. And any settlers we send out. Right, let's cut off his retreat. Okay, I want to fortify until healed with this unit. Good option to found a city on the coast there as well. Kind of like, so the scout has gone to tell other barbarians that we exist. A lot of the time you want to kill them before that happens, if possible. We haven't really had the chance, plus I have a feeling this scout may actually be from this outpost, in which case we're fine. I was thinking because they came from the south. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Ah, excellent. Right, I think I've definitely left one DLC connected. So apologies for that if you're looking for this without DLCs, but seeing as we've started, I will continue with this DLC. I can't remember which one this is, but it gives you specific governors as well. So we will just explore that. And we finished a civic, foreign trade, which is good. So we've got an opportunity to change our policies, and we've also got some new ones. You can tell which of the new ones from the exclamation marks, which will become more important as we get more and more. We'll also start splitting them into types, but we can see all of them right now. So we've got maritime industries, which is not much use to us right now, and gold from all trade routes, which is no use until we have trade routes. So we're going to stick with what we've got for now. Just trying to home in on these scouts, and because we discovered a civic we need to choose another one. So we already have a boost towards mysticism, so I'm going to go for that one. You can see the boost is filled in. It will give us an extra envoy, which is good, and it will move us towards founding a religion. a settler. So we finished building a settler, so it wants us to choose production again. Because we have resources nearby, I really want to build a builder next. They don't take that long to build, and they should boost our city enormously. I would also like to send a settler somewhere up here. Got two options to build cities on the coast, actually. Although I wonder if I'd rather be more central so as to block Saladin a little. So these little markers here are a concern. They're basically because you're settling too close to another city, your city can be influenced by the other civilization. Too close to another civilization. So you do have to be quite careful putting a city there. In theory, we would rather not. Generally speaking, we can't settle anywhere that's red. We get this because we've got a settler highlighted. We can settle anywhere where it's green, not green, where it's grey, but it's usually not considered advisable by the game, and settling anywhere that's green is really good. And also you've got good resources anywhere there's one of these remarks, one of these little icons. However, I really want a bit of a buffer between our capital and Saladin. The reason I'm considering settling in the middle, even though it's grey, is simply because you can't often walk across these borders easily. So I'm thinking we will actually block his military quite handily. So I'm wondering about going there maybe. Now really I should send a unit with the settler to defend them. I'm going to bring this war chariot down for now. I'd like to fortify until healed, but once this scout is dealt with, I'm going to send them to catch up the settler and protect them. I'm not sure we're actually going to take the scout out this time. We're not, but they're heavily damaged, so we should take him out next time, which is good. Brilliant. Got a major victory coming up here. Okay. So generally speaking, and we will cover this later because I'll start doing things properly, these units like settlers and builders, they are undefended. You should never be sending them out on their own like I'm doing here. I'm taking a risk here, so I'm basically going to send my war chariot after them. I think they're heading there maybe, or possibly there, because the war chariot can hopefully catch them up quite quickly. But there's an option to basically attach units to the less well defended ones. In fact, I'm also going to send this warrior up there because they can defend the new city. So yeah, normally an undefended unit like that you would attach a military unit to make sure they can't just be taken. Otherwise, any other players especially, and barbarians as well, will be very tempted just to move over the units and take it. Okay, so this is the boost we've got. We've got a boost to wheel, which is great. That should have fulfilled Yerevan's quest. So we should now find that we have 2 envoys in Yerevan. We get a bigger bonus once we hit 3, which is brilliant. And also, obviously, the more envoys we have, the closer we are to being the suzerain. So what do we need for this? Train an archer. Right, we can't yet do that. This is going to be quite different if I've left the DLC enabled. Advanced knowledge in city planning. Okay, brilliant. Oh, this is because we've researched bronze working. So basically we've got this new district. It's a new thing to Civ 6 is this. Some of the buildings actually happen outside the city. So instead of just being built in the city, we have to select a hexagon within the city's influence to actually build the encampment, which is good. We'll probably want an encampment in this new city up here. Okay, now we do want to build an archer to gain an envoy in Candy, but we don't yet have a boost towards it. So I think we should do the wheel, because we've got to boost that. Except maybe we should do pottery, because that will only take 7, whereas a wheel will take 14. You might do pottery. You've got to remember that we have something very like a chariot already. So while the chariot would be better, because we have a war cart already, it's not as big a boost as it will be for any other civilization. Okay, so we've got our settler unit here, and we're going to build a city. This is probably going to upset Saladin, but we'll just apologise. Okay, so this is talking about loyalty. You don't have to deal with this without the DLCs, but it could be very good for us, assuming we play a good game. Okay, so I want to defend this city first, so I'm going to build a slinger as a basic defensive unit. I tend to use ranged units to defend cities. So the Saladin's complaining that we've settled too close, so we've got a few options, but I'm actually going to apologise and say we're not going to settle near him again. There's a shelf life on that promise, but it should help us to get on well with him. This is why we sent the war chariot up, because we've got barbarians coming. We're injured, but the major victory should help us. Plus we've got a promotion coming up, which is good, so that will heal us. So as long as they don't take us out next turn, note that they can do a ranged attack in which they suffer no damage. It's one reason I like ranged units so much. However, I'm going to use the fortified defender again, because that way I know that all my war carts are good against fortified defenders. We have a scout coming in, which I'm not tremendously happy about, but I can't actually stop them without declaring war on Saladin, which I don't want to do. And we've built a builder in Uruk. So I'm going to start by improving these 3 resources which are right next to us. Beginning with a quarry, because if you remember, that gives us additional faith. I think that's 2 faith per turn. There we go. So we've got a new option for production. We could do the slinger as a defensive unit. However, I would like to build a monument first. I'm concerned about our lack of culture. And we do have a warrior coming up, and they could provide defence for us. Oh, we've met a new civilization. Harold Sigurdsson. Okay, he is primarily a military ruler. Interesting and difficult one to play, because he mostly focuses on the sea. So I'm going to be as friendly as I can. I'm going to invite him to our city, so we should learn where his city is. In theory. Interesting. Can't see his city. So does he know where our city is and we don't know where his is? Fascinating. Can I send a delegation? Oh, he must know where his city is now, surely. It's often a good idea to send delegations or their later equivalents straight away, because it gives you a little boost to how they feel about you, and you may not be able to get them to accept the delegation if they've taken against you. I'm not sure why we don't know where his capital city is. I feel that we should, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to move a war cart back for now. Tell them to at least fortify until healed. Okay, so the builder unit is another undefended one. But as it's close to our city and I can't see any other units, I'm not going to worry too much. It sort of shows which ones we can build. We can't actually make an improvement here yet because we don't have irrigation. But we can make an improvement here. A camp where the deer are. We could make a ziggurat here, which is unique to us. And we could make a farm here. I'm going to do the deer first. Our war cart is healed, so let's start exploring again down here. Notice, by the way, that areas we've explored but haven't been to recently get sort of greyed out. So they're no longer in colour. So what you're basically seeing is how it looked last time we went through. It's not necessarily how it looks now. It's quite a nice little feature. I do like the way they handle the fog of war. Okay, I'm going to replace the war cart with the warrior in the city and do some exploring with the war cart. We have finished researching pottery, so we need to choose another thing to research. Masonry is a good one, as is writing. Writing is good for science. We don't want to harvest stone. It does allow us to build ancient walls. I might do writing first because I'm not in a hurry for ancient walls. We need to do basic defense. Right, so the builder, I did rush through this last time, but we have a few options. We could remove the woods completely, which would be a really stupid thing to do. We can build the improvements, which is a camp, which I highly recommend, so that will give a bonus to our city permanently. Or we can harvest it, which gives us an instant boost towards whatever we're building, but it removes the deer. I almost invariably go for the improvement. I prefer the long-term gains. Let's just move the war cart away. Tell them to fortify until healed again, but I want the warrior to be in the city and defend it until we finish building the slinger. And we've discovered another village, which is great, so we will take them immediately. So who knows when Mr. Sigurdsson might land someone from the sea. Okay, so we have a couple of options now because our borders have just grown. We could make a pasture, or we can do wheat. Might go for the pasture. We could also build ziggurats, of course, which we really should consider. Actually, the point where it might be worth us having two builders. We've come so far. Notice all these new resources we're discovering as we go through. It's well worth exploring in the early game. Found a bunch of friendly villages as it is, you know, and obviously as Gilgamesh there are big pluses to barbarian camps as well. So you see we've got a settler here from Arabia, so I suspect we're going to be complaining to Saladin about settling too close to us next. So I'm going to build a pasture, which is giving us a boost towards craftsmanship and horseback riding. So we've got a boost to a civic and to a science, which is brilliant. Attack this scout, much as I don't want to defend their settler. So if we wanted to at this stage, because it doesn't look like their settler's defended, we could actually betray Saladin and just take this settler for free. Build a city. Probably wouldn't be much he could do, and if we were playing a warlike game I would be extremely tempted to do it. But I prefer to play peacefully, and also Gilgamesh specifically has a big thing about his allies. So he's not the sort of person who would betray someone. So I'm actually going to ignore this very tempting prize, because cities are all important. I imagine there's quite a few Civilization players who will be screaming at me about this, because we could almost certainly build our forces, completely crush Saladin, and it will make life so much easier. I just feel it's out of character for Gilgamesh. So with that in mind, however, I'm actually going to finish there because we have gone a bit over. So that gives an idea of how you'd start off. I don't feel we're doing too badly, to be honest. We made some inroads into getting suzerainty over nearby city-states. We discovered them first. We've taken some good advantage of his war carts. We've used them to take advantage of his bonus for crushing barbarians. That is really tempting. But yeah, it's I feel like we could do with building settlers pretty pronto. We really need more cities. We've only got 2, that is not enough, and we've got to bear in mind that every other person has their own advantages. So yeah, you never know, maybe I'll reconsider as time goes on about this, because it would be so handy to just crush Cairo at the beginning. Take Saladin out of the picture so we don't have to worry about this massive religious force on our doorstep. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel. Maybe we could like declare war or something first. Never mind, but we're doing some good inroads. Never actually not built scouts before, but I just feel that the war carts are a better option. And we will leave it there and pick it up next time. So I will see you then.